it's Graham here at Crestron, and today I want to take you through some of the new features that have just been launched in the Microsoft Teams rooms on Windows in build 4.10.10.0. Let's take a look at the release notes. And here are all the features that are available in this latest release. So we have room remote control. So that means we can take our mobile phone, cell phone, tablet device and be able to control the room. So turn the microphone on and off, be able to control the camera, etc. So a nice little feature, so you don't have to be at the center of the room or where the console is. And we'll do a video demo on that in a second. Logitech Scribe content camera supports the BLE, so that's a Bluetooth button, so you can hit the button and share content. I won't be demoing that. And then chat bubbles. So when you're in a Microsoft Teams room, how do you know there's a message when someone is sharing? So people might be at home. So in our hybrid meetings, some are at home, some are in the office. We won't be included in those messages. This was a feature that was in Skype. You could see it on the Central Room's console. You could see the messages. On Teams rooms, we now have chat bubbles, so you get a notification, so you could use your personal client then to go and look at that. And we'll see this in a demo in a second. Then we have the large gallery and together mode. We've had that in corporate tenants, it's now in GCC High. And then some new skills added to Cortana. So you can now dial someone by the name. So you can, for example, say dial Graham Walsh, and I'll add that to the meeting. And then we also have Cortana push to talk is enabled on all devices. This needs a bit of setup, so you need a policy in place to do this. And again, we'll show you what Cortana looks like on the device as well. So just a couple of other things to point out here, as you see in the purple blocks. So support for the minimum operating system for 4.10 is now 19H2. Then also some of the features with the asterisks, such as room remote and chat bubbles, for example, they will actually work on 4.9 or higher. So that's a team server side addition. So even if you're still on 4.9, once these features have reached your tenant, they'll be visible on these 4.9 builds, for example. And then finally, we have the ability here to join the scheduled meetings from Teams mobile app on Microsoft Teams Room on Windows. And what you have to do is find the account name and press Controller's Room. And I'll show you how to do that in a second. So let's go and check these features out. So let's start off with my environment. So I have some Microsoft Teams rooms here, and there are some on different versions. So let's take you through what I've got. So here I have a single screen solution on the current build. So 4.9.12, and as you can see, as I mentioned, some things are server side. So they've rolled out server side, so I've got the Cortana button now. I can quite easily disable that if need be. So if you don't want Cortana, you can come into more and turn that Cortana button off. Now, one thing to note is you now have present in here in this menu. So I hit present, and that is showing what's on the screen if you have something there. So if you do have some user guides that you've deployed and put in some rooms, you may need to look at updating some of them because of this new sort of layout. So we'll just turn Cortana back on there. So that's the first system, and then next up I have a dual display system. So again, this is on standard build and it doesn't have that Cortana enabled, as you can see. It's got the present button there, but remember that it will be changing. So yeah, I don't have the option to turn it on or off there. And again, we'll see what the dual display setup looks like in here in a second. And then also I have another single screen system there, and then another single screen system here. And as you can see, the layout's a little bit different. I have the dial pad because I've got enterprise voice enabled for this device as well. That is the setup. Now let's send an invite to these systems. The other thing I have in my little toolkit here as well, because I can do, is also a Zoom room. So as you can see, this now got the invite. I have a Zoom room, which I'm going to bring into the Microsoft Teams meeting as a guest join. So here we have the meeting. It's scheduled. So we'll be able to look at all this now in a second. The other thing I want to show you is some new features that are coming, have been announced in September. So here's the Microsoft blog. So we have the what's new in Teams, September 2020. And we want to focus on the devices, but just to show you some features that are coming here. We have PowerPoint. You're able to present directly into Teams. That's a new feature there for the desktop. You have Apple CarPlay. So if you have a Apple phone, you can now use it in the car. Denzel's done a great video on there. I'll link to that in the description. If you're using breakout rooms, now this is for non-Teams rooms, so they're not supported yet on breakout rooms. And they'll come in another time. Restart live events. So if you do a live event, previously what happened was you had to start again, which was a little bit of a pain. So now you've got the ability to restart in case someone clicked on it by accident. So next up we have the devices, and we have a new feature here for dynamic view on single and dual display. So dynamic view is available for Teams rooms. They arrange the people on the screen appropriately. What we'll do, we'll actually upgrade our system to the latest version, and we'll see these features later on as well. So being able to have lots of people on your screen. So previously what would happen on a dual display, everyone would be cramped into a single display, and the second display would be used for content. We're now able to split this out when there's no shared content. And then we have the ability to spotlight people. So I think I tested this earlier, and we can spotlight up to 6 people, so that's good. Pin multiple participants, so you can do this from the console itself, and we'll show you that. And a new roster experience that we have on the tabletop now. So as you can see here, a lot more space for the title of the meeting, plus details to connect in, and then the roster list, very similar to our desktop client. So our attendees, the mute all button, and again some new features like being able to lock the conference so no one else can join once you've started, being able to send live reactions and also obviously see them, and chat bubbles, as I mentioned, we'll see that live in a second, and presenter support. So being able to have this presenter mode received on the Microsoft Teams room. This will be coming to the system. I've tried that and it's not showing yet, so maybe I need to update some of the systems to the 4.10 release next. And obviously we have Teams casting. So I've done a video on this before, I think, showing you how to Teams cast, how you present from your mobile. And then there's a whole new UI on the Surface Hub. So you get the Microsoft Teams Room experience on the Surface Hub there. What else is new? Some new Logitech Zone earbuds, so wired, and I do believe they have a wireless version coming as well. Then we have the Shure IntelliMix software, certified on Crestron Flex. So using the Shure IntelliMix Room software, their network connected speaker and microphone in the ceiling, and then you're able to have a nice network solution with the software installed on the Windows device. So again, for these large complex rooms, you have a virtual DSP running on the device now, which is really cool. Logitech Rally Bar, and being able to use that touch controller now. Previously, like a lot of other vendors, you were using a touch screen or a little remote control. Now you can use Logitech Tap controller. That is it. Let's jump into our live demos now. So we have everything sent to the device. We have our systems ready. So let's go and do some calls. Here we have my first system. We will join this into a call, and we simply hit the join button. And there you can see I'm in the call, and my camera is on over here. So that's the first person in the call. So this is the standard look and feel layout, as you say. And now let's bring in our dual screen system. And again, so what we have here is, as I mentioned, people on one screen and then blank until we have content in the next screen. So that's one of the new features that is changing, and we'll see that a little bit later. Now let's bring in the next system. And now, because this is outside the organizations and another tenant, it's asking to join. So again, I have this control from the touch panel. I can admit all. And I also have the power to mute everyone as well. So that's a handy feature. And let's bring in our Zoom room. So guest join access on Zoom. Again, I've got a video on there, how we bring that in. So that's now joining, guest join access. And again, that will hit the lobby as well. So we will jump back here and ready to accept it. While that's doing there, let's join with my desktop client. So for this, we're going to need lots of clients because we want to get a lot of people on the screen. So we can see the roster list here. We have everyone joining. So you've noticed I've changed. I'm re-recording this because there was an audio issue with the rest of the demo. So we're going to carry on where we were. And the first thing I want to focus on is the new center of console layout. And so we have everyone in the meeting, but I've got some people in the lobby because that's a little change as well. So one thing, we have Cortana in the bottom corner. That's where Cortana is going to be for now. And here you can see I can have an admit all. I can admit someone individually into this meeting. So I simply just click on a person and I can admit Grady to the meeting. So very simple to have extra people come into the meeting, and then they're there. Now let's take a look on what this looks like on the new interface. So this is in 4.10.10 and rolling out back-end services. Again, we have that Cortana in the bottom left corner. And now this is more familiar with your desktop client. So users will be very familiar with this, where you've got the tick and the X to admit people, admit all. So this is really good for those, larger meetings. It's grouped into who's in the lobby, who's in the meeting, attendees, presenters, etc. So a lot more familiar on there. So let's admit all. So now everyone is in the meeting. Let's jump back to this device now. And what I want to focus on is the dual screen. So we'll change to 2 screens. And here we have our large view gallery. So this is the 3x3 layout that we can see in the Microsoft Teams room, and then on the right hand side it is reserved for our content. So we'll share some content in a second, but let's just look at what we can do here. So remember, we have the switch button, so we can move the layout in between 2, so left to right and right to left, for example. That's a feature that's in the Microsoft Teams rooms on dual displays. Now on single screen displays, actually let's just jump to a single screen display and show you what we can do there. So we'll extend the display, and obviously we'll have people full screen. Here we go. And when the content is launched, we will have a new button here for our layout. So we can choose a single content only view, people only view, or people and content. So these are the features we have available today. And now we have content. So as you can see, we now have the content on the right hand side, people on the left. And then we can also click on the 3 dots here, for example. This is where we are today in this menu, and we can go to, for example, together mode. So your video can be composed into the different scenes and stages that you set up. So here we have the different layouts. So that's a nice feature you have there. And then also we have the ability to go to large gallery. So when you've got more than 9 people, then you can see everyone on screen at once. So then that will bring that image together. Nice, beautiful image, so you can see everyone just like you can do on your desktop client. So as mentioned, on a single screen system, we obviously see the full screen content, and we get this new layout button. This has been around for a while now, on what we want to do on the layout. So people at the bottom maybe, and content in the main focus. Again, we also have together mode, large gallery as well, also on the single screen systems. But I'll actually do another video on the new dynamic layouts because it hasn't released fully yet, so I can't show you that. That's something to look forward to when we have dual displays, single displays, and how it can have all those new features on there. So that's content, nice and easy to navigate yourself around there. Very easy, so when someone does change the slide, that is then replicated across into the content stage. So nice and easy. Sharing content on here. Now let's look at one of the other features that obviously was released in this 4.10.10, and that is chat bubbles. So if I send a message, so hi everyone, that is now displayed on the front of room display. In the top there, in the middle, you can see that Graham Walsh has sent a message. So when you're in that meeting room, let's just zoom in a little bit on this so you can help you. So we're in focus of the main room display. When a message is sent, that is now included on the room system. So you're fully inclusive part of the meeting that you're able to see messages. So if you need to get a URL or fill in a form or a survey, you can then use your personal device. You know that you're in the meeting room, there's messages coming through, so that's now shared with everyone. The other thing I just want to quickly look at, and that's slightly different, is obviously when we're in the new look and feel. On here on the meeting, the layout button is actually moved over here. So again, very similar on how it'll look like on the desktop client. So you've got your gallery, together mode, and then your switcher here on what you want. So you don't get the pictures anymore. You're getting the little text display here instead. So, and I won't switch to these because that's the new dynamic layouts. So that is what will be coming soon. So once they're available, we can do another video on there. Now that we have everything up and running, we have the call, we have people, we have content, let's look at the new feature of being able to have room remote control. So I have my mobile cell phone here set up, and I simply hit the join button. Now there's this great new feature in the Teams application. So whether you're on Android or iOS, you can add this device or transfer the device. So it knows I'm on a call. I've got my Crestron UCP8 Teams voice phone connected into this meeting, it knows I'm in a call, so I've got the choice to add this device or transfer. I'm going to choose to add this, and the great thing is it turns the video off, it turns the audio off, so I'm receiving video, I'm receiving content, I just don't participate audio video, so I get none of that echo or howling away. So to do room remote control, I just need to hit on the participant people, and I need to find a room. So again, from here I can add people, I can add a room, I can look at any of the options, but let's look at a meeting room, and I simply tap that meeting room and I choose control room system. So when you connect to the room system, it's using that Bluetooth proximity join, just like you do when you do that start from your Windows desktop and you want to add the room. So it's using Bluetooth proximity. We're now connected to the system. So I've got the choice to turn my video on or off. Now if I turn my video off, then that will turn off the actual room. So you'll see the layout has changed because I've turned that off. So I've got full feature here of the room remote control. I can do my microphone. So that works. And I can also do closed captions. So I can turn that on the device. So that is then displayed at the bottom. So it's translating everything. I also then get the choice of the layout mode. So I can choose what I want to see. Obviously that's reflected on the device. I'm actually connecting to another one, not the one we're seeing here. And also I've got the volume control. So this is a really nice way to have someone else control the meeting, maybe their little moderator, they want to turn the mic on and off, etc. And what you can do is actually control who has access to this as well. So during each meeting, you're able to control who has access. So let's just jump into here. And within the three dots menu on here, we have the option to turn off room remote. So you can disable that. So let's say you're an education environment, you're in a lecture, you don't want your students turning the camera on and off, changing the mic, the mute, etc. So you can disable that per meeting. And the same with the chat bubbles. If you don't want that coming up on the front of room display, it might be distracting for some people, you can disable this per meeting as well. So that's one thing to probably note for some training guides. Do you want to change that and add that information there? So that's room remote. It's nice and easy to do. It's a great feature. Again, if you don't want to share that center of room console, you can then use your own personal device to control the meeting. Let's now take a look at the new Cortana feature. So this is voice activation. What I want to do is first of all take myself out of the meeting. So let's say I haven't joined yet, I'm the organizer. So I could do this from my mobile client. So I will, for ease, just hang up from the device. Actually, I'm in the call here. So we simply hang up from my cell phone. So now that's disconnected. Let's use the meeting room system to add myself in. So we'll unmute the microphone. Add Graham Walsh to the call. Now it's asking, is this okay? Yes. There we have the system added to the call now by using voice activation. So that's a nice, easy to use feature. Now, why don't we look at the features actually available with Cortana so we can actually see what we can do. So if we hit on the Cortana button, so there are a couple of options. We go to see all tips. And if you click on the meetings, so these are the commands that are commonly used that you can use with Cortana. So join the meeting, add someone to the meeting, end the meeting, and let's see what else there is. Add, as I say, you can add by name or even by number. So that's quite nice. And then the other features you have available on calling people by number and end call. So let's go to the extreme. End the meeting. And Cortana does come back to you saying, I'll end the call, etc. So it does give you that feedback and ability to tell you what's happening. So that is nice and simple. Great use of voice skills. In this release, it's push to talk, so it's for any manufacturer. Previously, when Cortana was released, it was for Logitech Tap and a single microphone. That was always listening. This is push to talk on here. So this is a nice feature, and as you can see, the Cortana is on the home page, and that is a major difference. If we look at some of the settings, you can go into the more and turn Cortana off. However, that does just grey it out. That might be a requirement. You know, some people are used to having the present button there. So last week you had present there, now you've got Cortana. So will voice skills be used in your organization? That's obviously a requirement. Now, one thing to try, I've obviously got Cortana enabled on my tenant. You could change your Cortana policy, and I'll put a link in the description on how to set up the Cortana features there, because it's off by default on many tenants, but some organizations may have allowed it. So there we have it. They're the new features. We've seen room remote control, nice simple functionality on there. The chat bubbles, large gallery together mode, that's been in the corporate tenants, is now in GCC High. Those skills added to Cortana now, that you're able to call by name in there, and that push to talk is available on all devices. The room control, as you saw, nice and simple, controller's room, nothing to do there, out of not being complex at all, just tap on the room that you're in. Remember, it's going to use Bluetooth proximity, so it's not going to control a room all the way down a corridor, so you're safe on that one. So once the dynamic galleries and all those other features on the September blog are released, we'll do another update and we'll look at all the great layouts that we have there and other features that will be released as well. So again, a lot of these services are server-side, so they'll be released to the current application. The application won't need an update. Thanks very much for listening. Any questions, let me know below, and see you soon.